Hey guys, welcome back to the Tukes and Tires YouTube channel. As always, I'm Zach, and the cat's out of the bag. We're going on Hot Rod Power Tour, so we got less than 30 days to get my 1954 Chevy pickup ready for the road trip. So let's get on it.
Hey, is that Timmy's?
Yeah, because we're in Canada.
So as you guys already heard, we're going to be doing Hot Rod Power Tour in my 1954 Chevy pickup. This is my first time doing Power Tour, so basically in this video, I just want to get this truck ready for the drive. It starts at Atlanta Motor Speedway, and just for us to get there, it's a 15-hour drive. So I'm thinking if it can do that drive, Power Tour should be a breeze, but you know, we want to go worst case scenario on this situation. So I bought a whole bunch of parts that we're going to put on this thing in this video, and we're going to make a list of everything I think I need for Power Tour. So, you know, definitely comment down below if you have anything that I should bring that I haven't mentioned in this video. I do really appreciate it because as it is my first time, I want to make sure that I'm fully prepared for anything that's going to happen during the drive. I do have some friends that are going to be going on it that we're going to be touring with, so I think if we do have any problems, we should be all right. So to give you guys a little rundown on this pickup truck, I built this before I started YouTube. I was in my late teens. I just wanted a cheap 50s pickup, and this whole thing cost me $5 grand to build. It was a 1-ton pickup. I slammed it down, I put a box on it, so made it a half-ton. It's running a 2000 era Jimmy rear end with disc brakes on the back. We grafted on a 70 Nova front clip and we used S10 front spindles. So we got basically S10 stuff all the way around. So it's got disc brakes on the front and back. It's rocking a 283 that's bored out 60 thou with an S10 T5 behind it. So it does get pretty good gas mileage on the highway. We're going to tune it up just a little bit to try to get a little better, but it's going to be what it's going to be. So I have a whole bunch of stuff for this in the bed of the truck that we're going to throw on in this video. My buddy Kenny is going to be joining me for Power Tour. So to start this thing off I bought this utility box off of Facebook Marketplace. Basically just because we do not have a lot of space in this truck for putting like our luggage and other miscellaneous stuff. So I needed something cheap just to store our stuff during the day while we cruise. So that's going to be pretty wicked for that. I did buy some new calipers for the back because the one on the passenger side here was a little sticky and it does heat up, you know, when you drive it for a couple hours. For around town here and at home it was perfectly fine, but I just want to make sure that we're going to have no problems with that while we're out. So I do have new pads for the front and rear as well. I got some new diff fluid with the posi additive because I have a factory posi in this rear end. So I want to make sure that that's going to be totally, you know, looked at. I got new engine oil with a filter. I also bought a shifter boot because mine's got a hole in it, and from time to time you smell gas, so I didn't think that was a really good thing for the long trip. So we're going to change that out, and a new temperature gauge because when I built this thing, the temperature gauge never worked, so I've never known how hot it actually gets. So that's a thing, we're going to find that out. And I have some more parts on the way for this thing, but we're going to do what we can right now. So I think the plan is we're going to get Dad's wagon off the hoist, get my truck on there, check out underneath this thing, start draining some fluids, and just make sure everything's buttoned up underneath. So let's get that out and do the old switcheroo. So here we go. Lacey, what are you thinking? She doesn't care. So we got the truck in the air. First glance, everything's looking pretty good. I'm just looking for like excessive leaking. The oil paint on this thing was always wet. We could never get it to seal right, but you know, it is what it is. So we're just gonna top it up with the fresh fluid. Just seeing if I got any coolant leaks. I can see that I need to tighten up my power steering belt. Everything else is looking pretty good there. The brakes on the front of this thing are looking pretty good. I might have did new pads on it to begin with when I changed out all the ball joints on this thing, so we're probably just going to put the fresh pads into it and not worry about it. The tires are looking pretty good. Not any kind of excessive wear on that one. This one over here is feeling pretty good. So everything up front's looking not too bad. The transmission has a little bit of leakage there, but it doesn't drip. So I'll probably end up just taking the plug out of it and stick my finger in there to see where it's at. And then at the back here, when I built this truck, we did a crossbar for my shocks. And what happens is when you go over the bumps, because there's not much clearance there, the diff cover just rams the bar, and it's bent itself so far that it just leaks fluid out of the top of it. So, you know, low life. But all I'm going to do is I'm going to crack that open, drain the fluid out of it, reseal this back cover, and then just put fresh into it. But everything else under here is looking pretty good. The back rotors are looking all right. Don't know what the pads look like yet on that, but obviously we're going to be changing them all out. But I think the first action is here is we're going to drop the engine oil, see what it looks like, and then probably move on to this diff and go from there. So we'll come back to once I got that out, and we'll see what the oil looks like. It shouldn't be too bad, I don't think, anyways. So we got the oil all drained out of the truck, and it was definitely getting time to change it, so that's all right that we're doing it now. I also opened up the fill plug on the transmission, and if we dip our finger in here, it's not looking too bad. I'll probably end up just topping it up. Definitely still smells like whale urine, so it's probably going to be fine. Next, what I think we're going to tackle is this rear end. We're going to get this cover off, see what the fluid likes when what it looks like when it comes out of there, see if we can get this leak all situated, and then we'll check the rear end to make sure that it's all tight so we don't have to worry about anything on the road, so it should be all fine. So far, it's not looking too bad under here, I have to say. You know, nice little project. Oh yeah, doesn't look great. Pretty metallic-y. I mean, I guess that's what it looked like last time. Huh? Yeah, wasn't the best. So right off the bat, guys, the fluid is not looking the best. It's pretty metallic-y looking. You know, we got this rear end came out of a used vehicle we had here at home, and it had a lot of play in it when we got it. Me and Dad adjusted it, like, I don't know, long time ago. Like, it has to be at least 7 or 8 years ago that we adjusted this thing, and it's been fine ever since. So putting some new fluid in it definitely isn't gonna hurt, but looks like I might be able to get this cover off of here. This diff cover is so smashed up, and it's smashed around the bracket I have for the brake lines. Does not want to, come on, come on. Okay. There we go. So we got that back diff cover off, and it's actually not looking too bad. You can see there's just a little bit of metal on the magnet in the back there. so it's not the end of the world. I did have to bend bend this lip back up with a pair of pliers because it was so locked around the little clip I have up there for the brake lines that it didn't want to come off, but got it off. I'll clean this thing up and maybe I'll splash some paint on it to make it look a little nicer. We'll let this thing drain out as much as it can, and then you know, we'll seal her all back up with some RTV, and then we'll come back to once we're throwing the new fluid into it. So not too bad, not too bad. Okay guys, so we got that diff cover back on there. I painted it all up so it's looking pretty fancy. We also jacked it up to make sure that it had the proper amount of play on the diff itself, and it seems to be all okay for all these years I've drove the thing. So now we're gonna throw some oil into it, and we're gonna try out doing this like weird tube rig thing. We did do a test pass. I blew it all over the floor and got it everywhere, so it does in fact work. But we did put one of these, I don't know if you guys can see that, it's kind of bright. It's AC Delco limited slip additive. We put the whole bottle into one of these jugs, and then I don't know how many it's gonna take, so I'm gonna do it on the first jug, and hopefully we get this whole jug in there with me wasting it on the ground, so it should be all right. Okay, Dad, you ready? Mm-hmm. Okay, are you operating the air? Okay, I think I got the tube in there. Here we go. Oh, just a little pump, not much, not much. Oh yeah, we're good, it's pressurized, it's going. As long as you leave that in there, it should be good. I don't know what's gonna happen once it gets to the end. Oh, she's got the pressure in it now. It's moving. It's going in there, that's for sure. I mean, it beats squeezing a bottle though. We should have done this years ago. This thing is like a loaf of bread. It is so stiff. Oh, she's going down now though. See, oh, I can see the bubbles slowing down. Oh, see the air? Let me try to shove the tube down further. It might be curling in the bottom, I don't know. So you guys get the gist of it. This definitely worked a lot better than just standing there squeezing the bottle into the hole. We're gonna get the other one as much as we can get in there out of it. I am using a 80W90 in there with that additive. No idea, it's probably fine. So we'll get this probably closed up, and then we're gonna move on to the brakes. So we got that rear end all buttoned up and nothing leaked out of it, so we're probably in the clear. And just before we get to these brakes, I figured we'd talk about my wheel setup on the back here. So I'm running a 295/50/15. It's a 10-inch rim with a 2-inch offset. So it's got a nice deep dish look to it. That's all thanks to the rear end that's underneath this thing. It's narrower than like Camaro stuff. So it works out pretty good. I did have to do a mini tub in the back of it to make everything fit, but it gives it a really nice stance and it looks pretty sweet. So get this tire out of here, and it's nice. You don't have to do anything fancy to get the tire out. It just slides out once you jack it up. Not like my dad's truck where he's got to like sag out the suspension and wrestle the tire out of there. You know, I'm winning in that department. Except when it gets stuck. There we go. Oh yeah, where are we going with it? We're going down. There we go. So there are some pros and cons to this rear end. I guess it depends on whatever way you want to look at it. It's nice that the e-brake system is separate from the caliper. So when you're doing your brakes, you don't have to mess around with any of that stuff. You just take the caliper off, put your pads in, and away you go. The only bad thing to that, I guess, is that you have to replace more parts when it actually comes time to do your e-brake system. Mind you, I never use the e-brake, so technically it should last forever. But other than that, you know, it's a pretty cool setup. It's a drum style, so it's actually built inside of the rotor for the e-brake. I've never had an issue with it. It works perfectly fine. So the calipers that I bought came with the bracket and everything installed on it, so I just loaded it up, put some high heat anti-seize on the bits that slide. So all I have to do is take 2 bolts that hold this one in there out, and then just crack my flex line off, and you know, I got some new, you know, banjo bolt sealing things, whatever you want to call those, the copper washers to put in here, and then we'll be golden. Then we'll have to get Dad out here to bleed it so that I can pump it and he can do the fluid bit. So let's get cracking on it, I guess, or whatever people say. Okay guys, so we're back down on the ground now. Me and Dad got the brakes all bled on the back, and the rear end's looking pretty sweet, so I'm pretty happy with that. While we were at it, I topped up the engine oil, so I didn't forget to put that in there. And off camera, I did take the front wheels off, check the brakes. They're looking pretty well brand new, so I don't think we're gonna change that out. I'm just gonna bring those pads with us. We actually got some parts in the mail, so I'm going to show you that, and we're going to go over my list I've made so far. So please, once again, if there's anything that you guys think I should bring, you know, comment down below, add it down there, because I'm always looking for suggestions. So I got this new gas tank for the back, because I figured the one that's in the truck, it's got a hole in the top. We need as much fuel capacity as possible for the road trip, so I thought that was a pretty good thing. So it's a pretty good deal off Amazon. I'm running a 1957 Chevy, gas tank in it. Basically made my own brackets and stuff, and it fits really well in between the frame rails. So it makes it pretty easy to buy a new tank. And I bought this for the Chevelle. And if you haven't seen that, it's the C1 Chevelle build, street legal stock car. It's a rugged radio headset system. So me and my buddy Kenny will be able to talk to each other in the car. And I also bought some handheld radios, so the buddies that we're going to be cruising with will be able to talk from car to car. So it'll be pretty sweet and a good way to test it out in this if I like it. And who knows, I just might even buy another one for this truck, and you know, we'll see how it goes. But this is my list so far. Pretty well, everything's pretty well straightforward. You know, jack, spare tire, tire wrench. I got some specific stuff that only works on my truck, so I need to bring that. Bag of bolts. I like to bring a bag of bolts with me because you never know what you might need. Just bring an assortment of random stuff. Tools, wrenches, sockets. It's pretty well straightforward. Fluids, I think we're going to buy once we get across the border. You know, I'm pretty sure there's going to be you know, a parts store basically everywhere, so that shouldn't be an issue. Spare parts, so it's like, you know, bringing those extra brake pads with me. I have a couple other things. I might bring an extra caliper. You just never know what you might need. I have a whole bunch of stuff here, so I might as well. And we got zip ties, safety wire, just because you never know when you might need to tie something up. And then I forgot to add on here, but we're just going to bring some wire supplies. So I'm going to bring like 14 gauge wire and probably 2 colors and some crimp connects just in case we need to do something on the fly. We will be all set up. But that's what I got so far, so please comment down below if there's anything else I forgot or what you think I should bring. I'm not worried about once we're down there. It's just the drive to get down there what I'm worried about. But I think we're in pretty good shape so far. I do have a couple other odds and ends I might want to bring with me if we have space. I got a couple of folding bicycles. I like to collect weird stuff, and I have a couple folding bicycles. couple. But I think that's gonna do it for this video, guys. I was actually out for the count for a couple days. I got food poisoning, so I'm just on the road of recovery, so that sucks. I don't recommend getting food poisoning. But thank you guys so much for watching. Next video, we're gonna hop on getting this new gas tank in there, hook up the rugged radio, and finish off everything on the inside of this cab to get all the creature comforts all buttoned up. You know, because the coolant gauge might be pretty good. But that's going to do it for now, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you guys so much for subscribing. And as always, don't forget to salute the beaver.